today, that we can give back, and we're always talking about what have you done lately for others. This is an opportunity for men in our community to take a young man under their wing and help them to fly as high as they can and reach their full potential.
Exactly.
Now, how would a young man, did you say that this program is associated with some specific schools?
It is.
Okay, and what were those schools again?
Manual Middle and High School
Okay.
and Tree Wind Middle School.
Okay, is this a volunteer program where the parent and the child agrees to participate, or is it mandatory? How do the people get
It
into
is not
your program?
mandatory at all. There is a criteria for the youth that do participate to
Okay.
participate.
Uh-huh.
But one of the things is asked each session is, are you comfortable here? Do you want to be here?
Mm-hmm.
And there has not been one student to date who said, I don't want to be here.
I'm glad to hear that.
In fact, the day before the class begins, and we meet tomorrow, right? So there's some excitement being
Well, that's
generated
good.
by that, which is just really outstanding. If we have some time, I do want to mention just one other thing that
Go ahead.
we all here at the agency have been involved in, and that's the community call to action
Yes.
that
okay.
meets on a monthly basis, and it was initiated by Senator Kaler calling a meeting, and he called together State Representative Jahan Gordon and Mayor Jim Artis and the police chief, Settings Guard, the city manager, Mr. Moore, and our director, executive director, McFarland Bragg, and said, you know, our youth are crying out for help, and there's
Right.
something that we as a city must commit to do. And out of that grew then that community call to action, which the first meeting was held February 13th, and we've met on a monthly basis since then. And one of the things the group said back in February is we need some intervention programs for our young boys. So here we have men of valor growing
Right.
out of a need that we know and realize, and men step forward from that group meeting to say we want to do that. The second project that's happening is the community gardening project that will be in the Harrison Impact Zone. One of the things the Community Call to Action Group decided, based upon data that was shared with us by Stephen Kosman, is we looked at a neighborhood where there was a lot of renters, tenants,
All right, yes,
as
uh-huh.
opposed to homeowners, where lead content in homes was extremely high, where there was a high percentage of single female-run households. All of those things that don't necessarily mean that there's going to be some problems, but there are huge challenges that people have to face. So we decided that, one, the South Side met the criteria that we were looking for, and then this last meeting that was held May 1st, we decided that the Harrison Impact Zone would be the area that we would start.
Yes.
Not that we would finish with, but we would start there. And so out of the first project for that area is a community garden project, which there will be 14 teams formed, and each team must consist of youth, parents, educators, those who are re-entering the community. And that project is to begin working together to be able to know one another. When you work together in something close as gardening, you start talking about and
Yes.
becoming familiar with, and all of those, you know, those things, those scary things we think about each other's culture seem to dispel when we begin to see we have more in common than we have uncommon from each other. So that is happening. And then at the end of the gardening season would be the harvest of the garden. Those produce will be sold at the riverfront market. The proceeds from that will go toward having a community-wide community celebration in the Harrison Impact
Yes.
Zone. The weekend before school opens, celebrating the opening of a brand new school there, which is, it can be the impetus for a community to come around. So there are a lot of good things happening in the community
Absolutely.
that sometimes we don't hear about, but there's plenty of things to get involved in.
Well, you have said a mouthful, Joyce, and I've known you throughout the years, and I know your commitment to the community. I know your commitment to the powerless, and I know your commitment to youth, and I think through your leadership and the efforts and the volunteers of our community to assist. I mean, some people kind of shake their head when they hear what's going on, and you know, they want to wring their hands. What I'm going to ask them to do is to extend their hands, to be of help. There are some people who have the attitude, I'm going to give up, but I'm going to encourage them to lift up.
That's right.
Because these are our children.
Yeah.
These aren't folks from other places, and we got to learn to support our own, to care for our own. And as I tell people, anybody can be a daddy, but it takes a real man to be a father. And you can be a father other than through a biological birth of a woman giving birth to your son. There's young men in this community, for whatever reason, don't have that male involvement, don't have that male leadership. And this is an opportunity to be a part of a young man's life. Maybe there's a viewer out here who was lost a son, and this is a way to kind of dedicate a memorial to their son.
Andre,
Yes.
you guys need to do a show on just the Harrison impact. So,
Okay, I'd
'cause
love to
there's
do
so
that.
much information that's out there, so many things that are going on.
That's true.
And that there needs to be a show dedicated to that.
I promise you, we will, and I want to also extend to each of you an opportunity to come back so we can continue our discussion in terms of how things are going and the success that we're having, as well as any other thing that you think would be of interest and of value for our community. Because my motto is, as far as CAPtions, is to educate, for people to be motivated, for them to participate. And I want to thank again, in behalf of the total community, and particularly my personal knowledge of the two of you and all the things that you've done, and to keep on keeping on, as Dr. Garrett would also say.
Yes, you would.
Yes, he
Because,
would.
you know, unfortunately, it's kind of like the civil rights thing. We haven't reached the end of the road, but we're still on the road, and there's still things to be done. And I think under your leadership, we're going to make a real impact on our kids as well as on the community. We're going to take a short break. I'm going to have another guest, and we're going to continue to talk about some of the valuable services and benefits that the Community Action Agency brings here in Peoria County. Stay tuned. Call your friends. Call your neighbors. You'll enjoy it, I'm certain.